University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. Hello and welcome. My name is David Stouffer and I get to be the recruitment coordinator for the UMSL College of Education. Each week on this podcast, we will meet an innovator in the field of education. We will spend some time getting to know them and learning about their work and how it can help you and yours. It is my sincere hope that this podcast will be a source of encouragement and support as you work to continue impacting lives as an educator. My guests today are Makenzie Brown and Will Schuering. Makenzie and Will are participants in Cohort 2 of our Future Teacher Leadership Academy. That means they attended last year in Cohort 1 and now they're in Cohort 2. Kind of makes sense. I want to give you guys a chance just to introduce yourselves. So Makenzie, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm Makenzie Brown. I just graduated from Parkway West High School. I will be attending Principia College to play softball and double major in mathematics and educational studies in the fall. And I want to be a secondary math teacher.
Awesome. And Will, how about you?
I'm Will Schuering. I recently graduated from Brentwood High School and I'm attending St. Louis University in the fall to study secondary education mathematics with the goal of becoming a high school math teacher.
Awesome. Now, Makenzie, you mentioned you're going to do the educational studies program at Principia, so they don't have a certification program there?
Correct.
So what does that mean you're going to have to do in order to become certified to teach?
So, I will hopefully get a job at a private school, and then while I'm doing that, I will hopefully attend UMSL to get my master's in certification at the same time.
Sweet! Yes,
Yep.
we have a great graduate program, so I know we've talked about that before, but I wanted to make sure our listeners knew and understand that. Will, tell us a little bit about you. Why do you want to be a math teacher?
Well, I knew pretty early into my high school career that I wanted to teach. I was just a little shaky on the subjects. I first started by looking at my own grades and saying, okay, my report card says these are the subjects I'm best at. This might be something I should teach. And that at the time wasn't math. And I was like, okay, I'll teach English or history. But then around sophomore year, I started to really enjoy my math classes regardless of what level they were. And as I gradually got more and more into math, it was something that I wanted to pursue throughout my life beyond high school. And I thought it was really interesting, my earlier sort of disdain for math, and it's something that I want to avoid with my students. I really am looking forward to the opportunity to challenge students to consistently keep that curiosity when it comes to math and not lose it around early high school like I did, and I think a lot of other students.
Yeah. What about you, Makenzie? Why do you want to be a math teacher?
Ever since elementary school, I've always had a strong passion for math. In elementary school, I thought I was going to be a math teacher. And then in middle school, I had a really strong American Sign Language teacher, so I switched it to ASL. And then I got back into math my freshman year with a great math teacher. And I think it always just stemmed, similar to Will, from an idea that a lot of students don't like math. And I really want to help people like math just a little bit more because I think it's a really, honestly, satisfying subject. And I really find it rewarding. And so I want the students to at least feel that a little bit.
Right. Very good. Very good. What's our favorite math subject? What's our favorite?
Ooh, probably either geometry or the integral part of calculus.
Wow.
I would say not that. I would say algebra and pre-calculus.
Okay, yeah.
So we have analytical and we have theoretical. Yeah. So there's our difference in personality. You've been in the Future Teacher Leadership Academy for 2 summers now. Talk first about why you wanted to be in the Leadership Academy, and then a little bit about your experience over the last couple of years. Let's start with you, Makenzie.
Yeah, so I was in a teaching program through Parkway and Rockwood, and my teacher, Dr. Yeager, told me about it, and I was like, that sounds really cool, and you get a college credit out of it, so why not? And so I signed up for it and really enjoyed it. We learned a lot about learning science, and we talked a lot about like different backgrounds that students come from, and I think we talked a lot during cohort 1 about different traumas students might have and how to face that and how to help them, and I really liked that. I found it very interesting. So I decided to come back for cohort 2, and it's been better than I imagined. You help out with UMSL Succeed Camp, which I had no idea what that was going into it, but it's a really cool camp for kids with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and you get to help them just do a bunch of activities with them. We got to rock climb, we got to swim, we got to do a bunch of crafts. It was awesome. And so, yeah.
That's awesome. And they're your best friends too, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It's great.
Yeah.
They're so kind and so loving, and yeah.
Yeah, I heard you made it to the top of the wall on the rock climbing wall. I even saw a picture, so well
Yes,
done.
thank you.
Good. Will, how about you?
I first heard about UMSL's FTLA program when I was in a teaching class at my high school. It was the furthest you could go on a teaching track at our high school level. So I was sort of hoping to find further opportunities at that age to explore teaching. And we had a class day where we just had the FTLA program presented to us by Mr. Stouffer. And it was an exciting summer opportunity. There were the obvious benefits of the college credit and the fact that the program was free. But I was just really excited to spend that free time in summer focusing on a goal that I wanted to achieve, being teaching, and get out to a college campus and, change that nice change of setting from what I usually do with my summers was really exciting. And then during FTLA Cohort 1, we spent a lot of time with the psychology and the way the brain works and analyzes. And it was a really great insight on how and why teaching is so important and how it works for different students in different ways. It was a really engaging classroom setting to study teaching, and I was really excited for Cohort 2, where we got to take what we learned from Cohort 1 and sort of watch it in action through that field work that we did with the UMSL Succeed Camp, which was another program I knew next to nothing about, but getting out there was just so wonderful, and it never really was there was never a dull moment. We were always moving from activity to activity to different engaging topics. It was just such a unique program and opportunity to do that as a camp counselor and as a teacher and as a student. It was just on all sides a very interesting and engaging program.
Awesome. What was your favorite part of the Succeed Camp besides the rock climbing wall?
Yeah. Mine was definitely just getting to know the campers. They are some incredible individuals who really just like, when you open up to them a little bit, they just pour out to you, and getting to know their life stories. And there was a camper that is an entrepreneur that runs his own Max Mixes spice company. And it was insane. They're just so talented and so great, and getting to know them was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The relationships you build with the campers are a definite highlight, and just watching them grow from the beginning of the week where they're all a little closed off and shy about this new program to the end of the week where you can't turn a corner without starting a conversation. It's really just wonderful to experience. And again, all of the campers were so open and excited to be there. It was just a wonderful program. It was fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's dive in to a little bit more about, we talked about why you wanted to be a math teacher, but at some point you had to decide that you wanted to be a teacher. And it's an interesting time because you spent most of your high school during the pandemic. It started your freshman year of high school, and probably were, instead of in high school, at home most of that time.
Yeah.
And you saw what your teachers were going through and how difficult and challenging it was for them. And in spite of that, you decided you wanted to become a teacher. What was it about your experience in school, or what was it that drew you to become a teacher? let's start with that, and then I'll ask a follow-up. So what brought you to the point where you knew you wanted to be a teacher?
Yeah. Well, my love of kids and wanting to help them started when I was really little. And I've always wanted to be a teacher, but it's definitely, let me back up. When I was little, I thought I just wanted to be a teacher because it's all I knew. And I was like, this is a great option, but I still have a feeling I don't know what else is out there. And the more I looked into other careers, the more I realized that teaching really is for me. Mm-hmm. All the other careers I'm not as interested in them. Mm-hmm. There are plenty of helping careers, but they don't get to help kids the way that mm-hmm. teachers do. Mm-hmm. And so I really just wanted to make a difference in my future students' lives.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well,
when I was a kid, I had no clue what I was going to do as an adult. I knew a select number of things. I knew I was loud. I knew I liked talking, and I knew I liked the people aspect of it. And so throughout like middle school, just the friendships and relationships that I was able to build throughout school were some of the best parts of my life. They meant the world to me. And so around COVID was especially tricky because it was how do we foster and build those relationships in spite of this big epidemic. But also around that age, I started looking at actual practical jobs. And one that really popped out at me at that time was babysitting. And it was just working with children. And that's when I started adding that childcare aspect to my life. And I figured, well, maybe babysitting in general isn't quite a field that I will go into. But if I can apply that, it's a polite way of phrasing that. Uh-huh. I did not get hired a lot, but I did get hired. But as I was like, okay, well, I love working with kids, so how do we make that what I do for the rest of my life? And at that point is when my goal of teaching really started, and at that point I started looking at, okay, so maybe I don't want to do this general care kind of thing, but how do we pick a subject and focus that I enjoy, and I enjoy specifically working with kids at?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Mm-hmm. So last question then, let's take that one step further. What would you say to someone your age, or they're in high school, and what would you say to them to encourage them to consider becoming a teacher, especially, you know, in light of the challenges that schools are facing right now? Even now that the pandemic is quote unquote over, we're still in the residual phases of that, and there's a lot of challenges on teachers right now, a lot of stress on teachers right now. What would you say to someone looking for a career to choose teaching as that career?
Yeah. Honestly, I think the pandemic is more of a reason to be a teacher, honestly. Yes, it made it harder, but it makes it more rewarding in the end. And I think that's a great positive of teaching, is it is so rewarding, and you do make such a difference on your students' lives. And the pandemic just made everyone's lives that much harder, which means we need teachers that much more. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to help others in the future, then teaching is definitely one of the best options to do that.
Awesome. Well,
I would say that if you're a current high school student, everything you love about high school, you have the opportunity to bring to other people and other kids through teaching. And everything you hate about high school, you have the opportunity to change through teaching. And they're going to pay you for it. And it's just a fantastic experience to take what you loved and inspired you as a kid and bring that to every kid you get the chance to work with. Mm-hmm. And there's so many wonderful resources through the need for teachers that people are going to reach out and help you as much as they can to get you to that point where you're a professional teacher. And it's just a really exciting field to pursue because you feel the impact it had on you and you can see the impact you get to have. And it's one where there's so many wonderful people helping you throughout that path. Like the professional connections you make are always there to help.
Awesome. Yep. Well, I can tell that the field of education and the future of teaching is in very good hands with people like you guys going into the field. So I'm so encouraged to have had a chance to know you over the last couple summers. I'm so encouraged to have seen your growth over the last couple summers. I've only seen you for 8 days twice, but I still feel like I've gotten a chance to see you grow over these past 2 years. So thank you for your desire to become a teacher, and I'm encouraged at where you're going to wind up, and I hope that we can keep in touch and see where you do wind up someday and where you become teachers. So thank you guys.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I am honored that you chose to join me today for the University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. I hope you'll join me next time. Till then, I'm David Stouffer. Thank you for the work you do. Never forget, you are making a difference every day.